Howdy folks, how are y'all doing? My name is Rees, and welcome back to the Minecraft 2025 Let's Play Adventure, where today it is Sunday, August 31st? Is that right? Is this the last day of August? I cannot believe that. The first day of the week, the last day of the month, and a day that we're going to spend, if they ever start spawning, killing wither skulls, because Sundays are my fun days. My I don't have to run days, and I am not required to go and do anything at the moment other than just focus on whatever I want to. And today, we need to repair a lot of our gear. As you can see, Silky has been just absolutely thrashed. Our flint and steel is not much longer for this world if we don't get it repaired, so I'm going to kill some wither skulls and hopefully repair all of our tools. And we're going to discuss a number of different things that I've wanted to talk about, but haven't had a good opportunity to in previous episodes because they would have detracted too much from the episode. So check the description of this video for your timestamps for different bits of conversation. See if there's something in there you're interested in. Watch that section of the video, and if you're not, feel free to head out. It won't hurt my feelings none. But I'm actually going to wait until we start getting skulls, or wither skeletons, I guess I should say, which typically takes about 3 minutes or so. They've got to start spawning beneath us, and then go through the portal, and here they come. Almost always, they show up with incredible, like, impeccable timing. You know what I mean? Like, they almost always start spawning in as soon as I start talking about how they're going to be here any minute now, which is incredible. So the first point of conversation that we're going to have today is about my trip to Colorado. I talked it up a bit last Monday when I talked about getting home. It's just not really a whole lot to talk about with the trip itself. It was a tremendous amount of fun, but I thought it might be interesting to discuss sort of the mechanics of getting a week's worth of videos ready, because I didn't want anyone to realize that I was gone, didn't want anyone to kind of notice that content was being made in advance. So starting towards the beginning of August, I began doing my best to try to record 2 episodes a day, right? Which didn't happen every day, but I tried my best to try to gain a little bit of extra ground every day or so until I eventually got to a point where I wanted to actually have 2 weeks. I wanted to get a 2-week lead and have everything finished so that when I got back home from vacation, I wouldn't need to worry about immediately starting to record again. Now, that didn't happen. Basically, I got home and immediately had to record a video for the next day. So we left for our trip on a Saturday morning. So Friday night, the Friday before we left for our trip, I had everything recorded for a full week, Friday to Sunday of content. And I was like, okay, when we get home on Sunday, I got to get Monday's video made. Or sorry, let me correct myself here. I said repeatedly in last week's video that I had just gotten home that day, which was true. But we actually got home on a Saturday. So we were left on a Saturday, came home for a Saturday, gone for a full week. And so that video was recorded not on that Saturday. Was it recorded Saturday night, or was it recorded Monday morning? I actually can't remember now. I actually do not remember. What matters is I had everything recorded for a Saturday through to a Sunday, a full 8 videos, and the intention was to have them all edited, and that didn't work out. So on the very long drive from Texas to New Mexico and then up into Colorado, I kind of thought, okay, that's fine. I can spend this time recording. But I didn't. I set up our vehicle that we went in. So this was a family trip. It was me, my parents, my brother, one of my nieces. I went in and I set up this entire entertainment system, right? I had an iPad mounted because my brother and I, we figured we might want to watch some shows on the way there. So it was mounted between 2 seats. And then the headrest of the seat in front of me, I mounted up a second monitor for my laptop. And I was like, this is kind of cool. I could throw a video up here and then do some work on my laptop. Now, I did some work. I did edit a video for the next day, for example. So that was Saturday. I had to record Sunday's video. Edit it, not record it. But then I ultimately ended up just playing a lot of Civ on one screen. I still play Civ 5. It's my favorite Civ game. I've dabbled in 6. 7 looks terrible. I liked the one where you go into space. I didn't hate that one. I don't know why people hated it. But I played that on one screen while I had YouTube videos going on the other. And that was pretty much what I did. I did pretty much the same thing the next day. I kind of got into a groove where every day I just edited the next day's video. Now, there was some concern about getting those videos uploaded in a timely manner. You know what? I need to be diligent. I need to be very diligent here. I've got to swap these things out as we go. You need to go in there next. Perfect. I've got to make sure that I'm getting the XP where it needs to go. Swap those out now. I think everything in here is good now. That does not have mending. That has infinity. All the way up and until... I want to say on... I'm trying to remember the exact layout of the days, because on one of the days, my dad and my brother decided to go river rafting, which I did not want to do because I wasn't feeling well that day. But I stayed at the house, and I just said, I'm knocking out the rest of the videos. And I think I did like 4 videos that day. And I edited them all, I uploaded them all, scheduled them all, just got it done. And I was like, cool, I'm free for the rest of the trip, fantastic. But then I went on to work on this incredible 12-hour-long epic. This probably would not have been made if it weren't for this trip. I edited together the entirety of the Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition Let's Play, like the main story elements. I whittled it all down into a single 12-hour video that's going to go live tomorrow, September 1st, on the Howdy Folks LP channel. So if you like Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, or you didn't watch that Let's Play, or maybe you caught some of the streams, you can watch the whole thing in one sitting now. It's up already for channel members on the LP channel, as well as Patreon supporters. We're going to talk more about that in a bit, but I was concerned about uploading. I had my own decently fast hotspot that I could use. I've got a sort of mobile data station thing. I bought an Android phone. I installed a different OS on it. It's running, not Graphene, Calyx OS. And I basically just use it as a mobile hotspot. It's separate from my phone, so it doesn't run down my phone's battery. We use it at work, my boss and I. And so I brought that with me on the trip. And it worked fantastically for uploading the video on Saturday evening, where we stayed in Raton, New Mexico, which was very nice. We stayed in an Airbnb that I believe was once it was a train depot at one point, or a depot, or a depot, if you're so inclined. It was really cool. It was nice to stay there. There was a fox that hung out around there. There was a deer that laid down in the front yard. Raton, New Mexico. We were there for less than a full day. We just spent the night there, but it made a big impression. I went to the Dollar General that evening, and the woman at the cash register immediately clocked that I was not from there, which I guess is a giveaway. I've heard that a lot of American accents sound pretty similar if you don't live in the U.S. I guess in the same way that a lot of sort of British accents, English accents, accents from around the British Isles sound very similar if you're not attuned to them. Even though they can sound quite different. We know they sound different, we just don't know the regions like you people do. In the same way that, you know, you probably can't tell the difference between a Texan and a Tennessee accent, but boy can we. This immediately clocked that we weren't from there, and asked where we were going. And it turns out, the lady working at the Dollar General in Raton, New Mexico was from Colorado, and asked us where we were going. I told her we were going to Crested Butte. And she said, I've never heard of it. It's like, yeah, me either. So this was a vacation that, Crested Butte was cool, though. We had a lot of fun. But that's not the important part. We got to where we were staying in Crested Butte. So here's the thing. Crested Butte is actually not... It's 3 different, like, cities or townships. I don't know the exact makeup of the place. But Crested Butte... Like, that's the name of the mountain that sort of dominates the landscape. It's surrounded by mountains, but that's like the mountain is Crested Butte. And then in the shadow of Crested Butte is Crested Butte. And then where we stayed at was a place called Crested Butte South, which is different. It's not Crested Butte. It's its own thing. And then there's another place called Mount Crested Butte. Now, I want you to know, when you are on Mount Crested Butte, okay, like the actual mountain... and you look down, Crested Butte South, Crested Butte, and Mount Crested Butte are not far enough apart for them to be 3 separate things, quite honestly. But they are. So we stayed in South Crested Butte. So I made a mistake. You know, I didn't know exactly where we were staying. I just kept being told Crested Butte. So I checked my network's coverage. And it was like, yeah, you get 5G ultra wide when you're inside of Crested Butte. And I said, that's great. I'll be able to upload videos there, no problem. So it doesn't matter that I don't get them all finished early. I don't have to, like, stress and stay up all night the night before this trip to get them finished and uploaded. Like, it's gonna be fine. And then we get to our house in South Crested, or Crested Butte South. Not South Crested Butte, mind you. I'm not misspeaking here. It's not South Crested Butte. It's Crested Butte South. We get there, and we have no service. And I'm like, oh no. Okay, well, the house has Wi-Fi. The house had better have really good Wi-Fi. The house's internet connection was okay. Now, I'm specifically saying the house had Wi-Fi. Listen, it bothers me too when people refer to the internet as Wi-Fi. That also upsets me. That's not what I'm doing here. Understand, we did not have internet. Like, our Wi-Fi had an internet connection, but when I say the house had Wi-Fi, I meant that the place we were staying at had a provided Wi-Fi network you could connect to in order to get internet access, but it was not a dedicated line. I don't think. Performance seemed to ebb and flow depending on the time of day, but it was always good enough that I could upload a video in like 30 minutes or so, which is better than my own internet was, like, not even a full 5 years ago. If you're new around here, you might not remember this, but I used to have atrocious internet. Like, I don't know if I could go back to not having fiber at this point. My gosh, what a dark and abysmal time. My max upload speeds, well, okay. Originally, my original upload speeds were, I want to say, 3 or 4 megabit per second. And then I had to, like, do a negotiation with my provider, because they started offering new packages, but only for new customers. And I called them up and I was like, hey, you've got this new package that offers... So I had 45 down and like 3, 4, 5 up. It was advertised as 5 up, but it wasn't. And I was like, yeah, if I'm a new customer, I can get 50 down, which is not a huge improvement, but 10 up, is that right? And they're like, yes. I said, well, I want that. And they're like, well, that's for new customers only, because it was like a whole new pricing model as well. And I was like, listen, I'll pay more for it. Like, I'll pay whatever the not new customer price is. I just want the faster upload speeds. They couldn't understand. They could not comprehend. The people on the phone could not comprehend. They kept thinking that I was asking for, like, the new customer discount. And I repeatedly said, no, I'm not looking for the new customer discount. I don't care about the discount that new customers get. I want the increased upload speed from 5 to 10. That's double the upload speed. That's all I want. Can you please just change my package? Well, that's new customer pricing. That's only for new customers to receive that special introductory pricing. And I was like, I'm not talking about the pricing! I'm talking about the service, where it's 50 down and 10 up! And then finally, after going back and forth on the phone with them, I said, listen, if I cancel my service today and call back tomorrow and set up a new service, can I get 50 down and 10 up? And they're like, oh, we don't want you to cancel your service, you know. Maybe we can... Listen, how about we can give you a discount on phone service? Would you like a discount? I was like, I don't want phone service. I don't want a landline. That's not what I'm asking you. Why are you like this? And so eventually, I get shuffled around until I'm on, like, customer retention. There's an entire department dedicated to making sure you don't cancel your service called customer retention. And customer retention's like, so I see you're trying to move over to this new introductory, like, new customer pricing. And I said, no! No, I'm not! I just want the new plan. I'll pay whatever the price is after the introductory rate. Just put me on the new plan that has the faster upload speeds. And they said, hold on. And they came back and they're like, okay, we have an offer for you because you've been a loyal customer for so many years. We're going to give you a new service at the introductory rate. And I was like, is that 50 down and 10 up? And they're like, yes. And I was like, that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. And I got a discount. My internet service prices, I got better service, and the price went down because they were too stupid to understand what I wanted. That's the ultimate issue, is that they were just too dumb to comprehend that I didn't need the pricing. It's not what I mean. You know what? I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say that maybe The computer just didn't allow it. It is possible that there was no way for them to give me that deal in the computer without giving me the special introductory pricing. And that's why, like, maybe they weren't confused. Maybe they knew, but they kept asking me, like, this is what you're asking for? Repeatedly, like, so you want the new pricing. I was like, no! I want the new service, not the new pricing! At the end of the day, I got the new pricing and I got the new service. And maybe a year and a half later, I had to call them again to cancel because I finally got fiber. And that was a very hard conversation. Because you can tell the guy on the other end was instructed, like, hey, listen. You know, Comcast got in a lot of trouble. If you've ever heard that one viral clip of the Comcast guy, like, basically refusing to cancel someone's service, just repeatedly asking, like, I just don't understand why you'd want to cancel this great service. And the guy's like, it doesn't matter why. Just cancel it. I don't want it anymore. It's like, but you're getting such a great deal. Like, keeps going on and on and on like that. Like, no, make no mistake. That's what he was trained to do, and he's being punished, no doubt, if he actually allowed them to cancel the service. But ever since then, I feel like a lot of these companies have got the idea, like, listen, we don't want to be the next viral Comcast, okay? You have to let them cancel, but try not to. So this guy was trying his best. I called him up, and I was like, I'm canceling my service. I've got fiber. And he's like, fiber, huh? The first thing he tries to do is he tries to gaslight me. He's like, you know, a lot of those fiber companies, it's actually like a shared line, so they'll tell you you're getting a gigabit, but it's actually like a gigabit to your whole neighborhood. So it could actually end up being slower than what you already had. And I said, buddy, I've got the fiber already. It's a dedicated line, and it is not slower than what I already have. He's like, oh, so you already have it installed, huh? And I was like, yeah. Well, and he starts typing away, and he's like doing some stuff. He's like, hey, I'll tell you what, man. We can get you a great discount on cellular coverage. You want to switch your cellular coverage, and then you get a discount on your internet, too. I was like, will my internet be gigabit after that? Is it going to go to 1,000 down and 1,000 up? He goes, no. And I was like, listen, I've got the new internet already. Cancel my internet. And he's like, well, hold on. And then he brings it back. I don't know why they bring this up like it's a selling point. But once again, he's like, hey, we can get you a great deal on landline. We can actually add a landline to your house, and we won't charge you any more than we currently are. It'll be free for the first year. I was like, am I going to get gigabit down and gigabit up? He's like, no. I was like, why? What? I've already got the fiber. Why would I then agree to stick with my old internet that's slower for a landline? I was like, I said, bud, listen, I know that you have to do this, but I'm going to save you some time. There's nothing you can offer me. Unless you can offer me gigabit down and gigabit up, there's nothing that is going to keep me here. All right, I've already got my new internet. I'm done. And he goes, all right. Thank you for being a customer. I've issued a notice of termination. Your account will go offline at 0600 or whatever he said. And I was like, thank you. You have an amazing day. What a wonderful feeling. What a wonderful feeling. What was I saying? We went off on like a wild tangent talking about my internet speeds. Oh yeah, speeds were fast enough that I could upload video. And, aside from that, rode a ski lift up to the top of Mount Butte. I didn't hike all the way to the top because, I had an issue. I had altitude sickness the whole time. So when I was a little boy, I didn't get altitude sickness. And I've kind of, as an adult, having not been back to Colorado in a decade, I've kind of viewed altitude sickness as like this myth or this thing that weak people get. Because I was like, I've never experienced that. I've had issues with the altitude. I remember being a little fat boy, and my family we went on this huge family vacation. It was like everyone from one side of the family. And we stayed in these two different cabins, and one was slightly uphill of the other, and maybe half a football field away. I'm not going to exaggerate it. But I would get winded hiking through the snow between the two houses and have to, like, rest a couple of times on the walk back and forth. It was embarrassing. And as a kid, I didn't really understand, like, oh, there's less oxygen in the air. I was just like, man, being fat's worse in Colorado. I don't have this issue back home. It's just low oxygen, right? So I started having, and I had to look up, I was like, what are the symptoms of, like, altitude sickness or altitude, like, adjusting to the altitude? Because, I mean, first off, one of them was immediate. I was like, I cannot walk any amount of distance without suddenly having to be like, you know, because we're going from being less than 1,000 feet from sea level to 8,000 feet from sea level. And yeah, breathing was not great. So I knew that was going to be an issue just because of, the thinner atmosphere, not getting as much oxygen per breath. But then I started having like a headache, and I started having really bad gastrointestinal issues. Because it turns out when you have less pressure on your body, everything bloats up. And my body was like, I don't know what's happening here, dude. You're just sick and tired, I guess. So I was not feeling well the first couple of days. So that, like, first day there, we rode to the top of Mount Crested Butte. And I was like, yeah, let's climb to the top. And we made it a little way up the trail. And I was like, I'm going back down the trail now. I'm gonna go all the way back. Because you gain another 1,000 feet of elevation by the time you're at the top of the mountain. I was like, I'm gonna go down the mountain now and take a break. Because not only am I having trouble breathing, but also my stomach hurts worse. I pretty much had stomach issues until the last day or so, at which point my body had adjusted, and then when I came back home, everything started hurting again, because now everything had expanded, and with all the additional pressure back on me, it was all being contracted again. Unfortunately, adjusting to being home took maybe like 8 hours, and I was like, so much oxygen. Now I know how the dinosaurs in the Jurassic World franchise feel on this new Earth with less oxygen than their... I'm not like... No, never mind. The dinosaurs in Jurassic Park series are cloned. They're not like time traveled into the present. They're cloned here. They don't know what it's like to live in a oxygen-rich environment. But yeah, so went up the mountain. That was fun. Went to... driving around. We did a lot of really cool stuff. There was a lot of really cool stuff to do, and we had quite a bit of fun. Micah and Dad went on to climb, not all the way to the top of Mount Crested Butte, but up to a lookout point that was basically at the top. They were, like, way up there. And good on them for making it. Proud of Dad for making it, Went to this place called Secret Stash Pizza. Pretty good. If you're ever in Crested Butte, give them a look. Delicious food. They had a pizza with figs on it, which I was initially opposed to, but it turned out it was pretty dang good. I wasn't necessarily opposed to there being figs on the pizza. I was like, I can see how that could work, but it had blue cheese, and typically I'm not a big blue cheese fan. It kind of depends. It depends on the product, because sometimes I like it, but it has to be on the right product and presented in the right manner. And it turned out to be pretty good on this pizza. My brother went and did disc golf at one point. I believe he did a few different disc golf places. He did one in Amarillo on the way back home as well. He likes to just check out the disc golf courses, and I think he enjoyed himself quite a bit. I dropped him and my dad off when they went on their river rafting adventure, on which my father injured himself. Not rafting, trying to get back on the raft. After they did a break and they had a lunch, and then he went to get back on and just slipped and fell in the river. Good job, Dad. He's okay. He's been healing. We think he bruised a rib, but he's recovering now. Initially, he had planned to tell us this fanciful story about how he'd flown off the raft, and Micah immediately, when I went to pick them back up, he blew cover by just telling, like, oh yeah, Dad fell in the river, and Dad goes, Micah! So I had to bite my tongue while he got to tell his heroic, harrowing tale to my mom. Before, of course, telling her the truth. It's not like a lie. It's a bit. It's okay to do a bit. A lie, like intentional, long-term deception, not a good thing. A bit funny. Right before we arrived in Crested Butte, a couple of the local boys had destroyed, I want to say it was like a football field or something. I think they might have put swastikas in it. I don't remember. It was in the newspaper. But their parents found out about it and made them turn themselves in. And so we got to actually watch, over the course of a couple of days, every time you drive by this field, there were workers working on it. We got to watch it get restored to its proper... it might not have been a football field. It might have been a soccer field. I can't remember what it was. But I remember, like, my mom telling me, like, oh, I read in the paper this morning that this thing happened. And I was like, what? That's nuts. Crested Butte goes crazy, man. You kidding me? They got little Nazis in town, apparently. It was one local boy. I think the story was that it was one local boy and an out-of-town friend. And we don't exactly know what happened, but we decided at headcanon it's not the Crested Butte boy's fault. He participated, but it was definitely his out-of-town friend who led him astray. Now, we don't know that. That might not be the case, but we made that our headcanon while we were there. Be wary, young Crested Butte boys of out-of-town friends and their negative influences. Overall, though, great family trip. We did a few other activities. We drove around and looked at some different things, went to some different like little landmarks, and dipped our feet in some really cold water. We're gonna go ATVing, but oh, we got hit by a deer. Forgot about that. Yeah, our rental. We're driving. We decided to go to this little town out in the Tin Cup, I think it was called. Lots of things called Tin Cup around there in Colorado. I guess Tin Cups were very instrumental in the founding of Colorado. They named towns after it, roads, little rental homes in Crested Butte. But we go to Tin Cup, and it turns out that's where we needed to go to rent the ATVs anyway. But this was before the day before we were going to do the ATVs. We just drove to Tin Cup just to see what it was like, because my dad had read the history of Tin Cup, this old mining town, and how the local miners, like the person running the place, had become this sort of outlaw king who was killing sheriffs and stuff. It sounded like an interesting story. You get there, people in Colorado are weird. They're like shut-ins. They're like not super friendly. If you go to a small town in Texas, you'll get that small town hospitality. Everyone's all nice and friendly. You go to a small town in Colorado, everyone's looking at you like, why are you here? Don't smile and wave at me. We'll kill you. Like, everyone's just kind of, and no matter where you go in Colorado, in my experience, everyone's a bit of a grump. Everyone's a bit of a grouch. I guess it comes with living in a cold, miserable environment. Beautiful place, though. Beautiful place. Warmed my spirits. I don't know what their problem is. I guess they knew that winter was coming, and they were all in a foul mood. You hold the door open for someone in Colorado, and they look at you like it's some sort of trick. Weird place. Anyway, go to Tin Cup. People sitting out on the front porches. You smile at them. You wave at them. They just glare at you. Occasionally, someone like raises their hand, but it's like they're doing it with the worst of intentions. And then the worst thing to happen: we go to their cemetery. It's divided by faith, so there's like a place for the Catholics and a place for the Protestants, which I support. But then there's also a place for the one Jewish person to ever be buried there by themselves. And I was like, is this what they wanted? Or when they died, was someone like, you ain't putting him with our dead? Like, what is this? It just seemed a little weird. But, you know what, I can't, you know what, Tin Cuppers just like that, you know, they glare at you when you drive through their town, and they send deer after you on the way home. So we're heading back, and a deer just comes thundering down the mountain, and we don't see it until it is right on top of us. And we don't hit it. It jumps into the side of the vehicle. So it's at such an angle where its head, like it intercepts at such a point where its head hits the front screen, like the front window, and its body kicks back into the passenger side door, and then I was sitting in the second row. So then it flips back around, its head hits that window, and I was like, ah! Car was pretty beaten up. Now, thankfully, my parents had comprehensive insurance, and so it covers whatever they're driving, including the rental car, because they didn't buy the rental car insurance, because that typically costs more than, if you have comprehensive insurance, the cost of your deductible for any damages to the vehicle are typically less than the rental insurance. So everything's already taken care of, everything is fine. The vehicle was not damaged beyond functionality. We were able to continue driving it. Like, nothing critical was, like, the window there, it wasn't bad. The front windshield was cracked. The rear view mirror was cracked, and like the top of it had gotten broken off. I had to like jog down the road and grab it. No, I didn't. No, it stayed attached. I remember now. I did get out, and I did walk up and down the road because I was like, where'd the deer go? The deer got up and kept running. But then we found that the rearview mirror thing was still dangling off the mirror. I just took it off and put it in the back of the car. My mom was completely shaken up. As you would imagine, a deer had just hit the vehicle where she was sitting. The deer ran off. So who knows what happened to the deer? Maybe it's alive, maybe it's dead. My niece said she saw it run off, so presumably it's out there. But the next day, when we're looking at maybe going to ride ATVs, and we determine like the best place to go is back in Tin Cup. Probably one of those real chipper individuals who glared at us when we were driving through town and then sicked a deer on us. I'm not blaming the people of Tin... You know, I am blaming the people of Tin Cup for the deer. Gosh darn it. I'll go ahead and blame them. And listen, maybe some of the people in Tin Cup are polite. You know, there's just this one couple of people that we waved at when we pulled into town who just kind of glared at us. and then gave us unfriendly waves in return. And then set up a weird feeling about the town. You get to the gravesite and everyone's like separated by faith, and you're like, this is a strange place. These are strange people. In any case, I don't want to disparage Tin Cup as a town. It might be lovely. I didn't have enough experience. What I do know is that when we saw we had to go back to Tin Cup in order to do the ATVs, we decided we were not going to go to Tin Cup to do the ATVs. We decided not to do that. Look, I'm joking a little bit. I'm doing a little bit of a bit when I paint Tin Cup in this fashion. The ultimate reason we didn't go back was because that was the road with the deer. First off, it was a long drive. It was not like a terribly long drive, but it was longer than we wanted to be in the car for, there and back. And a deer had hit us the day before on that road. We didn't really fancy going back down it again. So, as lovely as ATVs might have been, and as lovely as the people of Tin Cup may have proved themselves to be, mayhaps we had returned, we would have found that the people of Tin Cup were actually incredibly friendly, and it's not that weird that they separate people in their graves. That's not that strange. Maybe the whole town's just having a lark. I don't know. We'll never know because we didn't go back. We did something else that day. Came back home, made it home without incident. Fun vacation. Very fun vacation. Had a great time. The final thing that I had wanted to talk about today was regarding Patreon and how you could be watching this video there right now. I've talked a lot about Patreon in the last couple of videos. We've been doing some changes over there, but I wanted to try to draw some people's attention toward a couple of pretty big changes. First off, Patreon and Discord are now available to folks for free, at least aspects of them. So you can now join. There should be a link in the description, unless I forget again. There should be a link to the Discord. You can go to discord.howdyfolks.net. We'll get you there. You can join for free. That'll get you access to the general chat, a couple of update channels, things like that. If you're interested, you're more than welcome to go join in on the conversations over there. I noticed that a few people have already done exactly that, so welcome to all of the new folks. I'm condensing bones. Give me a second. I can't do multiple things at once, because I can't think about what I'm doing if I'm doing multiple things at once. Darn it, I forgot to empty out stuff after the last video, or even the video before that, I believe. We'll bring back the coal. We'll bring back the skulls, obviously. All of these objects. Not these. Not those. Oh gosh, it never ends! I can never get it all, because as soon as I've collected it all, more have spawned. We're gonna kill them all, collect our XP, and then we're gonna go. As soon as we get all the XP, we're gonna go. We're not gonna linger, we're gonna go. Okay. We go up a couple of times, I think, in order to make it. At least the one time. There we go. Let me try to get everything about the Discord and the Patreon out before I make it back to our house there. Which actually we're going a lot faster than I thought we would, so maybe I shouldn't have gone up so high, and then we wouldn't have such an aggressive angle, and then we wouldn't be gaining so much speed. Never mind. I'll explain it all when we get home, because now I've created this scenario where I feel like I'm going to be rushing if I try to explain it all before we make it to the ground, because we're moving so quickly, and I really regret what I've done here today. I apologize, everyone, but it's too late to turn back the hands of time now. We're going through. I wish that worked. I wish he just immediately traveled through. If I had an ender pearl I could have tossed through there. Yeah, well. Patreon! I've explained this in the past couple of videos, but I want to try my hand at explaining it a little bit better. You can now join the Patreon for free. It doesn't request any money to join Patreon now. There's a free tier. And while you won't get early access to video... Well, no, you will. See, it's so confusing. That's what makes this so hard to explain. Videos are uploaded early there, and if you are a supporter, much like on YouTube as a channel member, you'll get early access. But if you are a free member, you will still get some early access because the videos go live for the general public on the Patreon a full 6 hours before they go live here on YouTube, and they're presented without any ads. So if you want to watch my videos early and ad-free, you can do so on Patreon for free, or you can watch them even more earlier if you are a paid supporter. So if you want to help support the channel, you can do that as well. Likewise, you can now join the Discord without needing to be a paid supporter if you want to. You can also continue to support if you'd like, but discord.howdyfolks.net, patreon.howdyfolks.net, consider checking those out. If you want to get more, you can become either a channel member or a Patreon supporter. But I really do, at this point now, recommend more so channel membership at this point, I really do recommend becoming a Patreon supporter more than a channel member. If you are a channel member, you can stay a channel member, and I appreciate your support as a channel member. We have an entire wall dedicated to them, and we have animals named after them. But shuffling some things around here, making a little bit more sense of it all. But the reason I would recommend becoming a Patreon supporter over channel members, first off, you technically join it for free. You don't get all the perks as a free member, but you can technically start as a free member if you're so inclined. And it's a way to support all of Howdy Folks, not just Howdy Folks MC. If all you watch is the Minecraft stuff, then yeah, probably being a channel member on the Howdy Folks MC channel is fine and plenty for you. And you might not get all that much benefit from being a Patreon supporter. But if you're more of a Howdy Folks connoisseur, and you love all things Howdy Folks LP, MC, gaming, then all of those videos are made available early to Patreon supporters, as opposed to having to support multiple YouTube channels. And that's like $3 a month to join. You get full access to the Discord at that price. You get access to all channels' content early there on Patreon. We're doing some Patreon exclusive streams now that you can get access to also as a channel member of the LP channel, but not of the MC channel. So I'm just throwing that out there, just a suggestion, you know, maybe check it out for free. That is all for now, though. And until next time, September, thank you folks for watching. God bless you, and I'll see you later. Goodbye!